Hello gamers, and thank you for watching.
If you don't want to choose between Auntie's Choice and the Order during the Liberate Spirathon or a complication with the Computronic Cerebrum, you can actually negotiate a peace deal in order for the two factions to work with you on the quest. This will also help with a good ending for the last mission. For this, you need to talk to Vice President Gertrude Hewitt and tell her you would like to make the two sides work together on this. You have the option, is there any possibility of negotiations resuming? After which, you ask what's involved in getting them to work together and she will explain. After this, you need to complete the first two missions for each faction in order to gain their respect and trust, and you can propose to each of the two leaders to have a meeting and begin negotiations. In order to reach Auntie's Choice missions, you will need on the ACA's Undisputed Claim to go to this guy, talk to him and the door on your left will open. For the Order, you need to talk to Laureate Craft and start the first two quests there. I've also left these quests in the description in case you're having issues with them. Now you will see the dialogue for each faction leader and also the final negotiation part between the two factions involved.
The Order has always proclaimed patience as a virtue, but I am pleased my waiting is finally at its endpoint. For so long you have only existed as numerical values on a chart, a bright star in a constellation of possibilities, as it were. Now with your arrival, the Order nears the totality of its goals, provided you are willing to stay aligned with our cause. You must have suffered greatly in your life to have developed such a mercenary attitude, but I certainly will not contest an exchange of mutual aid. Now then, I gather you already know who I am, but science has shown that good manners strengthen developing relationships by 5. I am Ruth Basar, third presiding bishop of the Order of... I admit, when your recent exploits at Greater Tranquility Station have confronting an assassin, and thereby sparing the delegates' lives before the rift inexplicably destroyed the station? Such a commendable effort is... Yes, by all reports it was. But the plan is... However, there's something of even great... It's recently come to my attention that secret communications have been exchanged between Laplace's garden and the Undisputed Claim. Do you know anything about that? I should have known. Vicar Levin has made this appeal to me at least thrice since his return. He really cannot accept a solution he did not devise. Wise enough to recognize the perils, too. But the right course often involves remaining open to new possibilities. I will put the question to you one final time. Are you certain you would rather pursue this path? Then I will endeavor to bring that vision to fruition, if the plan wills it. A true in-person meeting between myself and Auntie could never take place due to the security risks. But perhaps a remote conference could be a viable alternative. The odds of you persuading Auntie Cleo to agree are unfavorable. But the math does improve if you have greater standing within her corporation. Once you have met with Auntie, instruct her to send me a communique. My time is yours, for the moment. Call it proof of concept. It saddens me to see the garden so despoiled by our wartime presence. But
down for a modest fee to each successive generation. Spacer's Choice.
Yeah, don't let me keep you. Whack! We understand you've been
Yes, time is bits.
a satisfactory effort, my Amelia.
Well,
Anything else you'd like to report? Your performance at that facility went exceedingly well. Oh,
There you go again, pinning your career to that flim-flam mathematical malarkey. What do a bunch of eggheads know about market?
yes,
I'm the head of our proprietary insight. The Protectorate have a process called mental refreshment. Auntie wants details on their... Oh, do tell.
Of course.
Head refresher Gould will... Now I assume our people will...
How true.
What else can you... what else? But still, they keep on marketing it as virtually foolproof, don't... Oh, good to... Excellent. Along with something extra for your effort. And more for converting head refresher ghouls to the joys of commerce. All right. For your next assignment, well...
Congratulations. Your storied success has earned you a whole entire minute with our illustrious leader, Auntie Cleo.
So your preliminary chores are complete? Oh, finally a contractor with a little backbone. Normally they flee or expire, leaving the work woefully incomplete. Ah, I remember you from before. Fairfield, yes? Tell me, as an outside agent, do you have any quandaries working with our organization? Ah, I see we have an ideological fellow traveler. Why, this is a nice surprise. Do hope you'll forgive these two. They're competing for a rather significant promotion, you see. It tends to make employees fractious, like young ursopods cooped up in the den. So, you've been advancing a fairly radical idea with a group that, to date, we've considered our rivals. I received a most curious transmission from Ruth Basar, presiding bishop of the order, proposing we discuss the prospect of our groups working together. She stated this was your idea. A cessation of hostilities could present any number of potentially profitable options, assuming we could work out favorable terms. Are you sure you'd rather pursue this over your current exclusive contract with us? Before I contact Ruth? Fine. I'll initiate a call with Ruth through a secure line in the conference room next door. Let's pick this up there. Don't keep me waiting. The universe is filled with things that want to kill you. Luckily, our products, and only our products, can reliably prevent that. So... don't cower and hide. Go make something of yourselves. Live a life that's larger. Daredevils rejoice with Auntie's Choice. Our product line is strong. Look who it is, the instigator of this little affair. Her mathematicalness should be along soon, unless the leader of the Order's too busy crunching numbers to attend to business. There we are. Apologies for the delay. We were resolving some technical issues. Cloister's atmosphere has a tendency to... Oh, yes! Regale us with a thorough account of Cloister's atmosphere. Spare no detail. This must be Auntie Cleo's trademark wit. I expected better. Why, I don't know what you're referring to, I'm sure. Compared to how I treat my staff, I'm being a peach. If I was discourteous, I apologize. So long as our mediator proves up to the task. From where I'm positioned, I sense 3 sore points still in need of massage. Point 1, control of the archive. Point 2, oversight of production and distribution of skip cores. And point 3, management of Rift technology.
Before we go any further, I want it in writing that the Order will take full control of the archive without interference from Auntie's Choice.
What? So the Order can set it fruitlessly idling for another few centuries? We would put it to far more practical use. Imagine the marketing strategies it could develop.
I would sever my own hand before giving custody of the archive over to a corporation. Humanity's ascension depends on its calculations. No, such a condition is out of the question.
I am amenable to that proposition. Less work on our part.
I'm waiting to hear an argument that would support such a ludicrous proposal. That is a compelling vision of the future, one I could perhaps support. Involving money in science seems questionable, but having access to Auntie's resources would be useful for our research. Fine. Yes, I agree. Reluctantly.
Ruth, I commend you for being so receptive, and I assure you that Auntie's Choice values science. Nothing bad has ever happened when science and commerce are combined.
On the subject of science, it would be most prudent for us to discuss who will be overseeing the management of skip drives, specifically the production of skip cores.
No one understands production like we do. Besides which, we have far more experience using skip drives. It was how we came to Arcadia, after all.
Where Auntie's Choice manages, the Order would undoubtedly excel. Do not exclude us from consideration merely for lack of experience.
So you ramp up production? And then what? Hand skip drives out for free to whoever wants one? Preposterous, and a waste of a perfectly good monopoly.
We would be diligent about who we licensed out the skip drives to, and a monopoly over space travel is precisely what I wish to avoid. This technology should benefit all humanity. That assumes Auntie's Choice would even abide by such a list of restrictions, and which would almost be impossible for the Order to enforce.
Not to worry, we can build a regulatory commission to oversee production and make sure everything is up to Auntie's Choice. Oh, partiality concerns are a thing of the past. Obviously, regulators would be incentivized to care most about the safety of the consumer. You know, right after production costs.
As would the likelihood that we will eventually improve upon it. We shall allow Auntie's control of the current design. There is still the question of who takes possession of the Protectorate's rift technology once the war is finished. Although the science is still largely theoretical, this technology could be used to not only close rifts, but create new ones. A dangerous power indeed, left in the wrong hands.
The Order would fritter away valuable time endlessly hand-wringing what to do with the technology. Auntie's Choice would actually use it. For good, of course. In a gainful manner. That is not an entirely terrible idea. Would cut down on the research and development overhead.
I am happy to accept such a compromise, so long as the Order always remains involved in supervising access to the technology.
Well then, that's that. I don't believe there's anything more on the docket.
There is one final matter I wish to discuss. I require some chemicals that I have been told are manufactured at a plant on Praetor, controlled by Auntie's Choice.
I know which plant you're referring to, Ruth, and what comes out of it is hardly safe for general use. Out of professional curiosity, what could you possibly need with such dangerous compounds? Running a little experiment, are we? On what? Or whom?
That is, quite frankly, none of your concern.
Precisely. Exactly. Partners don't withhold secrets, although they can and probably should withhold extremely dangerous chemicals if not properly notified of what they will be used for.
I will make no progress with my request without further explanation, will I? While the archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly. Brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this headgear exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I require these chemicals to finish it. Perhaps I have not been entirely forthright. This treatment will enact a permanent change in my personality. Irreversible. But it will not cost me anything I would lament losing.
And I thought we were the ones who threw caution to the wind. Ah, well, Ruth, if worst comes to worst, I'd be happy to serve as a substitute teacher for the Order.
A generous offer, but I fear you lack a certain number of qualifications. Conscience, for example. There is a strong likelihood that it will short-circuit my limbic system, eradicating my ability to experience emotion.
Oh, so you'll be even more of a bore. Ooh, doesn't sound like you'll be much fun at our future board meetings.
Only a child uses fun as a metric of any That math is confidential, but I have enough reason to believe the outcome will be favorable. I did not anticipate needing to fight for my own physical autonomy, but thank you for respecting my choice.
Oh, how it's delightful to me to see you squirm. All right. I'll get you your weird chemicals. I'll even provide you our corporate discount, practically wholesale. Best I'll say is today's outcome is workable. Barely. Our gains were not as exclusive as I had hoped they'd be.
Arriving at any arrangement even remotely equitable was statistically improbable. Be glad our mediator managed to find a middle path forward. As am I. You certainly have a way of curving probability into your favor.
Well, that'll be all for today. Don't forget to purchase the latest in Auntie's Choice products out on the value-added Esplanade, or enjoy a refreshing cocktail at the Best Choice. And do come see me personally when you have time. I have just the thing in mind for an accomplished freelancer such as yourself.
One moment. There are still the logistics of recapturing the archive to consider.
We'll, of course, provide our expert troops to support these efforts. Have your people call my people to sort details. Doodaloo!
Brusque as ever. Auntie's troopers will certainly help us manage the Protectorate forces easier, especially if supported by your help. But it would be irrational to expect you to endanger your own life without a more specific strategy in place. Fortunately, I have already given this some thought. First, we must reclaim Spireton from the enemy. Spireton once served as the Order's headquarters, due to its proximity to the archive. Its loss was an affront, and remains so. Unlocking and calling that lift can only be done from within the archive, however. So you will need to infiltrate the archive by alternate means, via a bridge connected to Newton. Fortunately, I am told you already dealt with the cultists there. Unfortunately, you will still need... Ordinarily, I do not fancy surprises, but you are proving an exception to that rule. With such a device in hand, bypassing the rift should be as rudimentary as pie. And perhaps at some later date, you will also permit our scientists to analyze this gadget at length in one of our labs, provided all goes according to plan. There is a computronical key that you will also need to locate within the archive called the Calcaduceus. The Calcaduceus grants special access to the archive. Once it is back in Order hands, we will have full control over its systems. Until the Order has control over the archive again, this discussion is all but moot. You know what must be done. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
Can't believe I just watched peace made between the Order and Auntie's Choice. Seems like a dream I'd have after eating too many woolly curds.
Hope this video worked well for you. Thank you very much for watching the entire video. Don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe, and I wish you all the best. Goodbye.